Hi guys, Elliott here from the product team at Soundcraft, and welcome to chapter 4 of our UI series tutorial videos. Today I'm going to be taking you through the edit page. As you saw in chapter 3, our mix page is where we can gain access to our input fader levels and of course our output fader levels. But as well as this control, we also have a full complement of processing on every single channel. The processing includes a 4-band fully parametric EQ, a compressor, a gate, a de-esser also, and on our outputs we have a graphic EQ as well as a compressor. So there's quite a lot of power that is still hidden to you at the moment, but I'm going to show you how to access that now. All of our processing controls can be found within the Edit tab here. Now to edit a specific channel, we first need to select the channel we want to control. So if I come to my mix page here and select the channel label for channel 4, you can see the channel has now been highlighted in a slightly lighter grey here. Now to get in further and edit channel 4, once it is selected, we can simply press the Edit tab up here on our L1 navigation menu. As you can see, the page has changed quite drastically, but there are still some familiar appointments. On the left we have our selected channel, which in this case is channel 4, so we can always grab the input fader regardless of what page we are in. And on the far right we still have our master fader. Of course, also our L1 navigation tab has remained. You can see in the edit page we have the addition of the level 2 navigation bar here. In the edit mode you can see we have options for accessing the EQ of our selected channel, the dynamics processing of our selected channel, things like a compressor and a gate, the channel centric effects sends, so that's sending our channel to the effects buses, and then the channel centric aux sends, which is sending our channels to the auxes. I'll get more into these tabs in a second. Looking at the EQ page in more depth, we can see two main sections to the screen. To the left we have an EQ graph here, which may look familiar if any of you use a DAW or similar. And to the right we have some fine controls here that you will see in action shortly. On the EQ graph itself you can see we have 5 coloured points here. Now each of these points can be grabbed and pulled around the EQ graph. If I was using a tablet as well, I could use 2 fingers to pinch to adjust the Q control like that. I'm using a PC here, so I can't do that at the moment. As you can see, when I select these bands, our faders to the right are changing settings. These faders follow our selected grab point. So if I select EQ band 4 here, the faders are now set up for EQ band 4. This is good because I can now get into specific controls for EQ band 4. Say the gain control here, our Q control, I can get a specific value that I'm looking for, and the frequency as well. And now if I select band 1, my faders are now followed for band 1. As I said before, there are 5 grabbable points on this graph. 4 of them are for our 4-band EQ, but the 5th point here is for our high pass filter. If you see, I can grab that and move that across, and that will bring our high pass slope into our EQ graph. You can also see now that it's selected, we have a frequency value here, so we can really get in and adjust the frequency to what we want. Now if I feel like I've made a bit of a mess of one of my EQ bands in particular, I can simply reset that band by double clicking the grab point. Of course, if you feel like you want to start again on the whole EQ, you can see below the EQ graph we have an option to reset. Now this will reset all of the EQ bands, like so. Below the EQ graph you can see we have a few more options here. The RTA button here stands for real-time analysis. If I select that button and engage the RTA, you can see a spectrum analyzer has appeared on channel 4 here. Now this RTA is derived directly from the input signal. There's no external mics needed here. Now what this RTA does is it gives us a visual representation of our incoming signal. For demonstration purposes I'm using pink noise generator here. That's why it looks quite linear. But the RTA is actually post EQ. So if I make a radical adjustment to my high pass filter here, you can see the spectrum analyzer is displaying how my high pass filter is reacting with the incoming signal. The RTA is especially useful if you want to hone in on a problem frequency. Say you can hear something's not quite right, but you can't quite tell whereabouts it is on the frequency spectrum. You can engage the RTA, and then you'll be able to see straight away, if, say I've got a peaking frequency here, you can see, okay, I've got a problem there, let's take that out a bit, smooth the sound out. The RTA has another really great use when you use it with the de-esser control here. Now if I engage the de-esser, you can see I have a new point appearing on our EQ graph. Now this is our de-esser control. What you can do is you can grab that DS point here and move it around the high frequencies here. And what this allows you to do in conjunction with the RTA is hone in on any essing frequencies in a vocal sound or any resonance on any instrument really. If I did have an S sound coming in here and it was peaking around this frequency, I could use a de-esser point by simply finding that frequency and bringing down the threshold until I hear what I want to hear, or in case what I don't want to hear has disappeared. You can also see now the DS point is selected, I have fine controls over here, so I can really hone in on that frequency that's causing me grief. You may be wondering where your EQ settings have gone now, but you can get those back quickly by either selecting the EQ tab here, or of course selecting one of your frequency bands here, and it brings back your fine controls right here. If you're just moving up from an analog console into the digital realm, now you want an EQ that's a little bit more familiar to you, maybe you could use our Easy EQ feature here. If I engage Easy EQ, our 5 EQ bands have been replaced with just 3 simple bass, mid and treble controls. This is great for those users who want to start off simple, and also for those more experienced users who just want to make a quick adjustment and then move on. Finally, we have a bypass button here. If I engage the bypass, that will remove the EQ and the de-esser from our channel. So maybe we could assess a before and after of our EQ settings.